My brother saw a ghost as a kid. 2 decades later, I realized what he actually saw. I was about 7 years old. My brother was 10 years old. It was well past our bedtime when our mom woke up off the couch to put us to bed. Our dad worked construction out of town back then, so it was often just the three of us at the house for weeks at a time. Up the stairs and to the immediate right was our parents' bedroom. Going left put you in the middle of the hallway. Taking another left down that hallway led to my brother's room. The opposite end was my room, which was also across the hall from our upstairs bathroom. At either end of the hallway are window doors we always kept locked and rarely used. The door on the end led to a balcony overlooking our front yard, and the door on my brother's end opened to our back porch. The house kind of leans into a small hill. My brother and my mom both had a habit of waking up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. I only knew this because I always was a light sleeper and they just couldn't help flushing with the door wide open. This night, however, my brother stopped on his way to his room and came back towards the bathroom. He said, "I'm gonna try to pee before I go to bed. The past few nights I've been too afraid to walk to the bathroom. I keep seeing a man wearing stripes at the end of the hallway." I don't know if my mom wrote it off as my brother telling ghost stories to try and scare me, or if she was already half asleep and didn't catch it, but she didn't react at all to my brother's confession. I, on the other hand, was terrified by it. The fear of seeing a ghost like that at the end of the hallway or through the windows is the reason I started running from the stairs to my bedroom at night. Years later, when I was about 18 years old, my mom and I were having a conversation in her car about a dog we had for a very short time when I was little. We were sharing stories about Max's tendency towards destroying my shoes and other unruly behaviors when my mom blurted out, "Do you remember that time I opened the front door for the cops and Max ran inside to the kitchen and started tearing open that big bag of dog food we had?" This really caught me by surprise because in all the years I lived in that house, we never once called the cops. We're a Second Amendment family in a quiet, rural Western Virginia neighborhood, etc. I asked her what she was talking about and she looked equally surprised as if she had just revealed something by accident. "Oh, that's right. I never told you because you were too young at the time. One night I woke up to hearing noises outside my window, and when I looked, I saw a man staring into my bedroom." She went on to describe how turning on the lights caused him to take off running and how she grabbed my dad's piece before calling the cops. "I can't remember all the details I gave them when they showed up. Tall white male wearing striped shirt and jeans, short dark hair, something like that. They said it matched the description of a man they were looking for in the area. It turns out he had just escaped from jail on a murder charge." Now, I know it sounds so obvious hearing those two stories back to back, but it wasn't until a few years ago, in my mid-20s, that I finally pieced together what my brother had seen and unknowingly warned us about was a murderer who spent multiple nights casing out our home. Wow, that is freaky. I feel like most people have sort of an inexplicable story from when they were kids that usually you don't get an answer to what it was much later on. I have a few stories like this myself if you guys ever want to hear a story time about it, but man, this is creepy. So this guy had escaped from jail and he wasn't actually breaking in, but he was just repeatedly going to the window. Somehow that's even more creepy to know that he's standing at the edge of the hallway just staring into the house. I mean, I imagine if they're casing out the house, they must be in need of more information than just this one view down the hallway. Something about that scenario makes it seem even more creepy. Like this guy is just unhinged and he's not necessarily intelligently casing the house, but maybe he's just psychotically staring at the house, eventually trying to break in with it. And clearly it wasn't only this house because the police had already said that he matched the description of other people. So somebody else must have already called the police about this guy. So let me know what you would do in this situation. And have you ever had any stories like this happen in your life? Am I the jerk for hiding embarrassing notes in my house as a joke because I know my fiance's mom snoops? I bought a house 7 years ago and I met my fiance Al 4 years ago. This year we moved in together. We're talking about making it a home for the both of us. But as of now, he hasn't moved much stuff in. Right now, about 95% of the stuff in the furniture in the house is mine. When his mom comes over, she's kind of a snoop. He was used to that, but when she comes to our house, it's so uncomfortable because she just goes through all of my stuff. When I'm bothered, she's like, "I was just helping with the chores," etc. He says that I should just let her because she has, quote, a lot of nervous energy. One thing she snooped on was actually embarrassing. In my home office, I had a little affirmation post on my monitor saying, "I am smart, I am skilled, I am deserving of great things." It was a silly thing my therapist recommended to get me in a confident mindset before an interview. Anyway, she made a comment about my ego, but as a joke, I decided to do it again. I had my best friend come over, we got sloshed and wrote a bunch of affirmations to hide. Some of them included, on the medicine cabinet, "My teeth will regrow, I am shark-like and powerful." On the kitchen drawers we wrote, "I know when to spoon, but I also know when to fork. I am self-assured." On my work desk, I wrote, "I will not just bang my way to the top of the company. I will bang my way to the top of the world." In my walk-in closet, I wrote, "I am beautiful with clothes and without, especially without. My boobs are legendary." There were a bunch more, and my friend and I had a hilarious time writing them. The next time my mother-in-law came over, she saw a few of these, and she didn't acknowledge them to me, even though she definitely started acting a little weird about me. I went to run some errands, and when I was out, she confronted Al about the notes and was trying to tell him that I seemed unstable, egotistical, and moving in was a bad idea. She showed him the notes, and he didn't really know what to make of it. He asked me, and I said that they were just some silly private notes to boost my self-confidence and make myself laugh. How had she gotten them? Had she been going through my things? He said she was just tidying up and she happened to see them and that they were real weird. I was like, "Have you met me? You should know how weird I am." Anyway, if you don't want your mom seeing my weird stuff, you've got to stop letting her go through my stuff. He asked if I left them there on purpose to annoy her, and I admitted that it was kind of the joke. But I also have other weird or private things, so what I said about her needing to stop snooping if she didn't want to find weird crap was still for real. He said I was just making stuff hard for him. His mom was really protective and adjusting to him moving in with a girlfriend for the first time, and I was agitating her on purpose and making her think that I wouldn't be a good partner when he wanted her to have the opposite impression of me. Am I the jerk for hiding these embarrassing notes in my house as a joke because I know my fiance's mom snoops? Okay, this was hilarious. The actual notes that the OP put in the examples were very, very good, especially about trying to regrow teeth. I mean, if she obviously has teeth, then the fiance's mom must know that it's a joke, unless maybe she thinks she has dentures or something. But some of these were so off the wall that the mom had to have known that these were a joke, because if she thought they were real, she must really think that the OP is insane. But that kind of weird isn't even a bad thing, even if the mom thinks it is. In the original note, the one that was real, she's just trying to improve herself in a very harmless way, and she had her privacy invaded. So I think this whole throwing a prank on the mom is a very innocent thing to do as a way to tell somebody to stop snooping. But let me know what you would do in this situation, and jerk or not a jerk, and why. Am I the jerk for bringing my own dinner to a wedding? Okay, I know how this sounds, but let me explain. I'm a 26-year-old female and I have a ton of medical issues, including some that create major dietary restrictions, real dietary restrictions, not some random fad diet that has false medical benefits. My cousin, we'll call her Kay, had a wedding a couple of weeks ago and they did not have any menu items that I would be able to eat except a couple of appetizers. Even then, I am a little uncomfortable because they chose buffet style for the side dishes, and catering creates a lot of opportunity for cross-contamination. I would have never expected someone to change or to add to their wedding menu on my behalf, so I just messaged her as soon as we received the menu and just let her know that I would be unable to dine with them at the reception because of dietary stuff, and let her know that I would come back after I was able to eat. I understand what it is like leading up to a wedding, and I received no response to my message, though it was on Facebook and I knew she had opened it. I decided decided I would just put together a little lunchbox and leave it in the car so when I started to get hungry, I could just go grab a snack and come back in. Well, the reception came and went, the dinner came, and Kay came up to me and asked why I was leaving the venue. I told her I just had to get some food in my belly and that I would be right back to finish celebrating. She got an appalled look on her face and asked why I would bring food to a wedding when I knew I would have some of the best. I let her know about the restrictions and reminded her about the message, and she just said, "I figured you were being dramatic and someone in the family could get you under control. I guess nobody could." My jaw hit the floor. I wish that my restrictions could be casually broken, but unfortunately I get quite ill if I break the food boundary. It is well known within my family that this is true. I've ruined a holiday or two by accidentally eating contaminated food. Anyway, I really didn't know how to respond, so I just walked out to the car and I had my food with the company of the car radio. I am the queen of being hangry, so I hoped that getting fed would help me get a better grip on the situation because I was still shaky mad. I came back in prepared to sit quietly and get through the rest of the night without too much more to say, but my aunt and uncle came to the table and told me how much I hurt Kay's feelings by bringing my own food. I explained, although I still feel a certain sort of way about having to explain, the restrictions again and told them I tried to be as polite as humanly possible by reaching out beforehand and leaving my snacks out of sight of the reception guests. They told me it gave the whole wedding a bad look, and if it was really that big of a deal, then I needed to eat beforehand. Nobody else has really weighed in, and at this point, I really don't know if I was in the wrong. Am I the jerk? This is just straight up ridiculous. From the way that the OP tells it here, she did everything she could to be accommodating to the situation without trying to cause any more problems, without trying to make any more money be spent or waste time. And yet, they're that mad that she brought food. I think people don't understand what it's like to have a food allergy or to understand that somebody has to deal with that. Maybe because it's just so unrelatable or because a lot of people have what the OP calls a fad diet. They think that this is more of a want than a need to not have certain foods. But the weirdest part of this is that the bride is spending her precious moments at her wedding worrying about what people are eating or not eating. I mean, it's not like the OP is taking people to go outside and having them come to the car with her. So it's just a really weird thing to be upset about when you have so much good surrounding you during an actual wedding to have to worry about something like this. I mean, the more humane thing to do in a situation like this is just tell the OP, hey, you can bring your food inside. You don't have to leave anywhere. I mean, the even better thing would be to offer an option for her, but if money's tight, no problem. Just say, bring your food in. Don't worry about it. Why would that matter otherwise? But let me know what you would do if you're in this situation, and is the OP a jerk or not for how everything went down? Am I the jerk for uninviting my stepdad from my wedding so my brothers could come? I'm a 25-year-old female, and along with my two brothers, Dean and Kevin, both in their 30s, went through a rough time during our parents' divorce. My mom got married to my stepdad and we lived with him for years. Dean and Kevin never had a good relationship because they never wanted my mom and dad to separate in the first place. They resented my stepdad and limited contact once they moved out. I, on the other hand, got to live with my stepdad more since I'm the youngest, and we established a somewhat stable relationship. I'm not gonna lie, he did what he could to help me out with school and everything. He even offered to fund my wedding, which is going to be in 5 weeks' time, and I'm very grateful for that, though this was his decision. I sent Dean and Kevin invitations, but once they found out that our stepdad was going to be there, they said that they might not come. They took time to think, then gave me an ultimatum stating that if our stepdad is coming to the wedding, then they wouldn't be coming. I literally freaked out because I definitely want my brothers to be at my wedding so badly, and I tried talking to them, but they were being stubborn. After talking to my fiance, I had no choice but to politely uninvite my stepdad and send him an email stating why. He said that he didn't reply, but later I got a call from my mom yelling at me, calling me hurtful stuff, saying I was acting like an ungrateful bee by excluding her husband from the wedding after everything he's done for me. I told her that my brothers threatened not to come, which pushed me to make this difficult decision because if it was up to me, I'd have everyone there. She cussed me out for prioritizing my hateful and cold-hearted brothers over my stepdad and showing him that I'm not worthy of his grace, which was really, really hurtful for me to hear. After she hung up, I asked my fiance if I made the wrong decision, and he said that it's my wedding and I get to decide ultimately, but I knew he said that because he's biased. So, am I the jerk for uninviting my stepdad for my wedding so my brothers could come? What an awful situation to be in. First off, I don't think that she should have uninvited the stepdad at all. It sounds like the stepdad has only been kind and caring to her throughout the time that that she'd live with him. I mean, she specifically said, I'm not gonna lie, he did what he could to help me out with school and everything. He even offered to fund the whole wedding. Not that having money should buy your loyalty to someone, but it sounds like he cares and he's your stepdad. That's more than a lot of people can say about their stepdads. The much better response in this situation would have been to tell Dean and Kevin, this is my wedding, you're my brothers, I want you to come. You need to put aside your petty stuff in order to respect my wedding. I mean, if there's something serious going on that we don't know about between Dean and Kevin, like something dark that has happened that we don't know about that has to do with the stepdad, that's a different situation. But from the way she's explaining it here, it just seems like they didn't like him because they didn't want their mom to date someone else other than their dad. It doesn't sound like he did anything wrong to them at all. And because of that, they're going to protest their own sister's wedding, hurting her more than they're going to hurt anyone else. Given what we know, it's just wrong to have the brothers put the sister in this weird, awkward ultimatum for her own wedding, the day that she wants to probably just enjoy with all the people that she cares about the most. And clearly, she cares about her brothers because she wants to prioritize them over the stepdad, but she also seems like she does care about the stepdad as well because she acknowledges the kindness that he showed her throughout time. And to some degree, she probably cares about the mom having her husband there, even if that's not at the number one spot on this entire list. So anyway, let me know what you would do if you're in this situation. And do you think the OP is the jerk for uninviting her stepdad from her wedding so that her brothers could come? Make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on by hitting that bell. Drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and follow on Spotify. I'll see you guys in the next one.